Vukovar is a city in eastern Croatia. It has Croatia's biggest river port, located at the confluence of the Vuka River and the Danube. Vukovar is the seat of the Vukovar-Srem County. The city's registered population was 26,468 in the 2011 census, with a total of 27,683 in the municipality. Name. The name Vukovar means town on the Vuka River. The name of the Vuka River itself originates from the Slavic word Vuk, meaning wolf. In other languages, the city in German is known as Vukovar, in Hungarian as Vukovar or Valkovar, and in Serbian as. In the late 17th century, the medieval Croatian name Vukovo was supplanted by the Hungarian Vukovar. Geography. Vukovar is located in the eastern part of the Republic of Croatia and is the center of the Vukovar-Srem County. Its location places it at the border of historical provinces Eastern Slavonia and Western Srem. The city is positioned on important transport routes. Since time immemorial, transport routes from the northwest to the southeast were active in the Danube Valley through the Vukovar area. After steamships were introduced in the mid-19th century, and with the arrival of present-day tourist ships, Vukovar is connected with Budapest and Vienna upstream and all the way to Romania downstream. The Vukovar harbour is an important import and export station. The Danube has always been and remains the connection of the people of Vukovar with Europe and the world. It is located 20 kilometers northeast of Vinkovci and 36 kilometers southeast of Osijek, with an elevation of 108 meters. Vukovar is located on the main road E2 Osijek, Vukovar, Ilican on the Vinkovci-Vukovar railway. The city is spread out along the Danube River. Vukovar proper is in the southeast, while Borovo Naselje forms a distinct unit in the northwest. Municipal area. The administrative municipal area of the city contains the following settlements. Grabovo, population 47. Lipovice, population 386. Sotin, population 782. Vukovar, population 26,468. In SFR Yugoslavia, the municipalities were generally larger, and the Vukovar municipality spanned the region from Vera and Borovo in the north, Ilic in the east and Tovarnik in the south, but it was since divided into several municipalities. History. Early history. There are numerous archaeological sites in the Vukovar area. They date from the Bronze Age and early and late Iron Age. The Vučedol culture, which was named for the location Vučedol, located 5 kilometers downstream on the Danube, holds particular importance for this area. The Vučedol dove, found in 1938, became the symbol of the city. Also, the Orion from Vučedol, which is considered to be the oldest calendar in Europe, has equal importance. The Vučedol culture flourished between 3000 and 2200 BC, centered in Srem and eastern Slavonia on the right bank of the Danube River, but possibly spreading throughout the Pannonian Plain and Western Balkans and southward. It was thus contemporary with the Sumer period in Mesopotamia, the early dynastic period in Egypt, and the earliest settlements of Troy. Some authors regard it as an Indo-European culture. The Romans reached the Danube in their conquests during the final decades BC. They constructed numerous fortifications as part of their border with the barbarian tribes. The Roman civilization in this area has brought the improvement of agriculture. Marshes were drained and the first vineyards were planted. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the migration period and the Avar and Slavic expansion onward brought about significant changes. Slavic tribes settled in this area in the 6th century. In the 9th century the region was part of the Slavic Balaton Principality ruled by Prince Pribina. Part of the Principality of Pannonian Croatia ruled by Prince Ludovit, and part of the Bulgarian Empire. In the 11th–12th century, The region was part of the Kingdom of Croatia, from the 13th to 16th century part of the Kingdom of Hungary, and between 1526 to 1687 under Turkish domination. Vukovar was mentioned first in the 13th century as Vukov. In 1231, Vukovo obtained its first privileges and later the right to levy taxes on passages along the Danube and the Vuka. During administration of the medieval Kingdom of Hungary, the town was a seat of the Valko county, which was located between the Drava and Sava rivers, while during Ottoman administration it was part of the Sanjak of Samir. At the end of the 17th century, the town's population numbered about 3,000 inhabitants. Habsburg monarchy. The area between the rivers Danube and Sava became the site of great conflict and interest of powerful states of that time. At that time Croats began to inhabit this area. The preserved documents mention Vukovar in the early 13th century under the name of Vukov, and finally under the Croatian name of Vukovo. From the 14th century onward, the more Hungarian version of the name of Vukovar is more commonly used. At that time Croatia was in a union of states with Hungary. In 1231, as one of the first cities in the state, Vukovar gained the status of a royal free city, proclaimed by the Charter of Duke Koloman. Vukovar then became the center of the Great Vukovar County, which included the area between the Danube and Sava. After the Ottoman dominion, a large part of the Vukovar area was bought by the German Counts of Eltz, who will have a significant influence on the economic and cultural life of Vukovar in the following 2 centuries. At that time, immigrants of German, Hungarian, Serbs, Jewish, Russian, Slovak, and Ukrainian descent began to arrive. In this process, this Croatian area became multinational, and in 1745 Vukovar became the center of the Great Samir County. Since the Treaty of Karlowitz in 1699, Vukovar was part of the Habsburg monarchy, Slavonia, and soon after in the Kingdom of Croatia. Slavonia, created when the Kingdom of Slavonia and the Kingdom of Croatia were merged in 1868. In the late 19th and early 20th century, Vukovar was the seat of the Samir County of the Kingdom of Croatia, Slavonia, Yugoslavia. In 1918, Vukovar became part of the newly formed Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. Between 1918 and 1922, Vukovar was administrative seat of Samir County, and between 1922 and 1929 it was the administrative seat of Samir Oblast. In 1920, the formative Congress of the Communist Party of Yugoslavia was organized in the town. After 1929, Vukovar was a part of the Sava Banovina, and beginning in 1939 it was part of the Banovina of Croatia. Between 1941 and 1944, Vukovar was a part of the independent state of Croatia. During World War II, the city was bombed by the Allies. In 2008, an unexploded bomb was found in the city from this period. From 1945, it was part of the People's Republic of Croatia within new Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. After the creation of the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes, and in the wake of communism gaining popularity throughout Europe, Vukovar became the location where in 1920 the Socialist Labour Party of Yugoslavia was renamed the Communist Party of Yugoslavia. After World War II, Vukovar developed to become a powerful center of textile and food industry, and as such became one of the most highly developed cities in the former country, Yugoslavia. Croatian War of Independence. Vukovar was heavily damaged during the Croatian War of Independence. Approximately 2,000 self-organized defenders defended the city for 87 days against approximately 3,000 JNA troops, supplemented with 110 vehicles and tanks and dozens of planes. The city suffered heavy damage during the siege and was eventually overrun. It is estimated that 2,000 defenders of Vukovar and civilians were killed, 800 went missing and 22,000 civilians were forced into exile. The damage to Vukovar during the siege has been called the worst in Europe since World War II, drawing comparisons with the World War II-era Stalingrad. To draw the world's attention on the suffering and exile of Vukovar people, on 20 November 1991 a group of Croatian expatriates changed the signs on a Paris metro station Stalingrad into Vukovar. The signs remained all day before they were removed. The city's water tower, riddled with bullet holes, was retained by city planners to serve as a testimony to the events of the early 1990s. On 18 November 2006, approximately 25,000 people from all over the country gathered in Vukovar for the 15th anniversary of the fall of the city to commemorate those who were killed during the siege. A museum dedicated to the siege was opened in the basement of a now rebuilt hospital that had been damaged during the battle. On 27 September 2007, the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia convicted 2 former Yugoslav army officers and acquitted a third of involvement in the hospital massacre. As a result of the conflict, a deep ethnic divide exists between the Croat and Serb populations. Demographics. In the years from 1948 until 1991, Vukovar's population increased quickly due to industrial development. Primarily it was immigration that fed the growth in the Vukovar region and in the town particularly. The region's population distribution changed notably too when the town of Ilok became the second largest town in the region. The most significant change is the forced displacement and internment of the German civilian population after World War II. The confiscated houses and properties were then given to Croat and Serb colonists during Yugoslavia. The Croats were in the majority in most villages and in the region's eastern part, whereas the Serbs dominated in northwest. Vukovar's population was ethnically mixed and had 28 ethnic groups before the war. Since the boundaries of the municipality have changed a few times, there are significant differences in the population census between 61 and 71, and 91 and 01. Particularly since the war in Croatia. Much of the native Croat population has moved to other areas of Croatia or emigrated to Western Europe, and many Serbs have either moved to Serbia or to Canada and Western Europe. 15 years after the war, in 2006, the city's ethnic makeup shows equal percentages of Croat and Serb residents. The city remains very divided, as a deeper sense of reconciliation has failed to take root. The ethnic communities remain separated by mistrust, divided institutions and disappointment. Separate schooling for Croat and Serb children remains in place. Incidents involving Croats and Serbs occur regularly, and public spaces have become identified not by the services they offer, but by the ethnicity of those who gather there. Even coffee shops are identified as Croat or Serb. In 2013, the government's intention to implement in Vukovar the constitutional law on the rights of ethnic minorities in Croatia that allowed for minorities, where they made up more than a third of a city's population, to be entitled to have their language used for official purposes, provoked considerable popular opposition. Minority languages. According to the 2011 Croatian census, the Serbian population of the city has exceeded one-third, which is the legal prerequisite for the Serbian name of the city to become co-official. In 2013, this has reignited a political discussion on the matter. Continuing on, the 2009 local promulgation of Serbian Cyrillic is available for public use. Economy. Vukovar is the largest Croatian town and river port on the Danube. Its economy is based on trade, farming, viticulture, livestock breeding, textile and food processing industry, footwear industry and tourism. The manufacture of footwear, Borovo, located in Vukovar, ended up devastated and demolished in 1991. During the war, in its prime, it was run by 24,000 employees. Today there are about little more than 1,000 employees and try to break into foreign markets with innovations in the manufacture of footwear. Following the end of the war, much of the infrastructure in Vukovar remains unrestored and unemployment is estimated to stand at 40%. Cultural heritage. Among a number of attractive buildings, severely damaged in the recent war, the most interesting are the Eltz Manor of the Eltz noble family from the 18th century, Baroque buildings in the center of the town, the Franciscan monastery with the parish church of Sts. Philip and James, the water tower, the birth house of the Nobel Prize winner Lavoslav Ruzicka, the Orthodox Church of St. Nicholas, the Palace of Samir County, etc. Since 1998 and peaceful reintegration under Croatian control, many buildings have been rebuilt, but there are many ruins still in the town. Outside the town, on the banks of the Danube toward Ilic, lies a notable archaeological site, Vucedol. The ritual vessel called the Vucedol dove is considered the symbol of Vukovar. Vucedol is also a well-known excursion destination, frequented by anglers and bathers, especially the beautiful sand beach on Orlov Otok. Great Vukovar Synagogue was built in 1889. It was demolished by the communist regime of SFR Yugoslavia. Museums. Vukovar City Museum, Castle Eltz. It was founded in 1948 by a donation of Roman money, furniture, weapons, and paintings given to his city by Dr. Anton Bauer. The museum started in the Coach Post building in the old Baroque Center, but was moved to Castle Eltz in 1966. Up until 1991, the museum had about 50,000 exhibits in 4 separate divisions. Heritage Museum displayed the history of Vukovar from prehistory to today, and some of its most important collections included the items excavated at the archaeological site Vucedol and the Culture and History Collection, which contained documents, furniture, and pieces of art, and provided an authentic display of the life of the citizens of Vukovar and the Eltz family. The Bauer collection contained the most complete overview of modern Croatian art from the end of the 19th and the early 20th century, with special emphasis on the period between the 2 world wars. Among more than 1,000 pieces of art, the collection contained the works of Vlaho Bukovac, Mato Celestine Medovic, Icio Krisneva, Ivan Mestrovic, Fran Krasinic, Emanuel Vidovic, and many others. Memorial Museum of the Nobel Prize winner Lavoslav Ruzicka, located in the house where he was born. It displayed original documents and medals from the life and work of the famous Nobel Prize winner, who received this prestigious award in 1939 for chemistry. Memorial Museum of the Second Congress of the Communist Party of Yugoslavia was located in the Workers' Hall building, former Grand Hotel, where the Congress was held in 1920. The materials connected to the development of the labor movement and the founding of the Communist Party of Yugoslavia was exhibited and presented here. During Croatian War of Independence, Castle Eltz suffered significant damage and the collections which were kept there were also damaged. Some of the exhibits were completely destroyed, some have disappeared and cannot be recovered, and some of them were taken to Serbia. After years of effort and diplomatic activity by the Ministry of Culture of the Republic of Croatia, that part of the collection was returned to Vukovar on 13 December 2001. In the period from 1991 to 1997, the Vukovar City Museum was operating in the Marmara Museum in Zagreb. Near the end of 1992, a collection was founded with the name Vukovar Museum in Exile, which began the creation of a collection of donations by Croatian, and soon after also European, artists for the city of Vukovar. To this day, that collection has gathered over 1,400 pieces of modern Croatian and European art. This collection represented the beginning of the cultural restoration of Vukovar, and it is displayed at the restored Castle Eltz today, along with other museum collections which are part of the permanent collection of the museum. Now that it is renovated, the Castle Eltz complex represents a unique museum and gallery, science, and multimedia center, which preserves and presents cultural heritage as an element of national identity and the continuity of life in this area. In 2013, the Vukovar City Museum won a prestigious Anton Stefanico Award for special contribution to the development of tourism in the Republic of Croatia, and in 2014 won the Simply the Best Award. Museum of the Vučedol Culture. Vučedol Culture Museum is open on the 10th of June 2015. Is one of the most modern museums in Croatia. In addition to the specificity and uniqueness which the museum is drawing from its contents, the attractiveness of the museum is guaranteed by its location and architectural design. Namely, the museum is positioned on one side almost at the very Danube riverbank, and on the other side, on 4 flowers, in the hill, while its flat green roof is a promenade on which you are arriving to the archaeological locality. As for the content, the permanent exhibition is displayed in 19 rooms on almost 1,200 square meters. In addition to using state-of-the-art technologies, multimedia and interactive contents, the way of life on Vučedol cultural localities, spreading through 12 European countries, is displayed.